Hey, everybody. I am happy to be here. Let me switch it. Oh, all right. So, as always, I am using a third party. Today, I'm using Wave Video. So, if you're catching this live, I think you have to give permission in order for me to see your comments. So if you catch it live, make sure that you let me know that you're watching live. And as always, if you're watching the replay, just let me know that you've caught it on replay because it just helps me to try to figure out maybe the best time that I can talk to all of you. Anyway, today's going to be a fun topic. It's all about creating your online course, whether it's a mini course or your signature program. What I'm going to teach you today is going to jumpstart that whole process for you. All right. So, are you excited? Woo-hoo! Give me a little heart or, thumbs up. Wherever you're watching this, just let me know. All right. Now, if I look over to the side, it's just because I'm checking my notes and I've got like 5 windows open here. So, got to figure out which one is working. So, as always, I'm going to be doing some screen share. I had to actually reboot my computer just to be able to share my screen. So, I am hoping that when I go to share the screen that everything is going to work. All right. And I'm using my other mic today. So if you are catching this live, just let me know in the comments. Hey, Hope, yay. Can you hear me okay? Just let me know if you can hear me. I keep going back and forth which mic I like best. This one's kind of in my face. It's supposed to be a really good one. So, anyway, just let me know in the comments if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up or something, and we will keep moving forward. All right. Yay. Okay. So, 3 things basically that we're going to learn today. I'm going to help you jumpstart so that you know exactly what to teach without spending hours trying to figure out all of this stuff and how to streamline this whole process so that you can just get in and teach what you need to teach. And then what I call my 3x3 system that's going to put everything together. Now, the first thing that I'm going to say is let's keep it simple. I want you to make it easy on yourself and easy on your students. All right. Uh, I don't know who came up with this idea that we have to talk for an hour, even on Facebook Lives, or if you go to a webinar or a workshop or whatever it is. Do you feel like that it's almost like an unwritten rule that people think that they have to talk for 60 minutes? Well, I'm here to tell you that shorter is better, less is better, because the whole idea when you're teaching someone something is you want to get them to the end destination. That's it. Okay. I've been a professor for years. And I always tell my students from the get go, I am not like the rest of their professors. I'm not going to stand up here and talk just to hear myself talk for 40 minutes. Guess what? I'm going to get you involved. The students hate it at first, but by the end of the semester, they appreciate it because they're actually learning something. All right. So, the number one rule for you is shorter is better. We all have short attention spans and it's getting shorter all the time. And so when I'm showing you this model, don't think, oh, it's not enough. Yes, it is. Because if you can move people from point A to point B and get them there with less stress, you've done your job. And if you can get them there in 10 minutes, then more power to you. All right. So let me jump in and let's see which screen here. All right. I'm going to hop over here And I'm going to move this screen just kind of out of the way here so it's not messing me up. Give me a second here. Okay, so what you're looking at here is, and I can't remember if I gave you a blank diagram or not, but whenever I go to plan a course, this is what I call my course planner map. And what I want you to do is to only think of 3 major teaching items. And in this diagram here, I'm calling them problem 1, 2, and 3, right? So when you're doing your market research, now, because we're experts, we want to teach everything under the sun. We want to deliver everything, right? But if you were having a chat, a face-to-face chat with somebody, and you had limited time and you just said, what are your 3 biggest areas that you are needing information about? Okay. So as we're gathering our market research, pick the top 3 areas. That's all we're going to teach. Okay. So in my scale to 20K program, the top problem, I'll just use that as an example, is no leads. Everybody wants more leads. And, that's the biggest problem for people in the online space. How do they get more leads? The solution is always just the flip side of what the problem is. If you don't have any leads, the solution is you want hot leads. You want leads every day, clients every week. All right. So do you see how I did that? So you identify the problem, then you identify the solution. In other words, where do you want them to go? Now, again, Rome wasn't built in a day. So, we're not building the whole city, so to speak. But in this course that we're mapping out, we're identifying the 3 major things. So let me know if that's making sense. You can just put something in the comments if it is. From that solution, what I want you to do is to come up with 2 or 3 cornerstone teaching points. Okay. Again, less is better. So using the example of lead gen, for instance, the first thing that I would teach would be how to create a lead magnet, a juicy lead magnet, so that they've got something to offer people. All right. The second one might be how to do organic lead conversion. All right. And the third one might be how to nurture those leads once they come in. All right. So those 3 topics would drive people to the solution of that first problem. Is that making sense, what I'm saying here? So as you're mapping out your course, now, again, we could go deep into the woods. I could talk hours just on a lead magnet. But what do I want? What is the solution? The solution is, if I was teaching a mini course, how could I quickly teach somebody to put together a little lead magnet to get eyeballs on their offer? All right. And then you'll notice these little satellites. What this is, I want you to think about FAQs. So frequently asked questions. So as you're working with people, if you're hearing the same question come up over and over again, then create what we call satellite training. And the little satellite training should only be like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. The beautiful thing about the satellite trainings is it's not necessary to get to the solution, and not everybody has those issues. So again, let me give you an example. If I'm teaching somebody how to create a lead magnet, one little FAQ that I get is, how do you create that? We call it a digital stack. How do you create that, really fancy looking image that has the picture of all the handouts and the computer and all of that kind of stuff. So we call it a digital stack. So I would create a little satellite training, 5 to 10 minutes max, showing people how to use Canva to create that. And I would have a resource. I would have a template so they could just use that template. The beauty of that is if somebody already knows how to do that, they don't even have to go down that trail. They don't have to do that training, right? So is that making sense, what I'm saying? Let me just come back here for a second. All right. And let me move this out of the way just in case there's questions. So when you're planning out your training, I want you to think only of 2 or 3 major things. Now, if you were building out a signature program, the signature program is still going to be the same format, kind of 3 legs, but they're just a little bigger. And you could continue to create these little satellite things. And the longer you work with people, the more you're going to become in tune with, okay, I'm getting this question a lot. So maybe I need to kind of bump it up on the scale. All right. Or it looks like 50% of my students, they're good with Canva. They already know how to do that. So I'll just keep it as a satellite. I'll make reference to it. And then if it comes up as a question, I can direct people there. All right. So it really doesn't matter the size of the program we're teaching, because again, we want to get people from A to B, or maybe from A to C. All right. But realistically, in one course, are we going to get them from A to Z? No, it's too much. It's too big. That's what I want you to really focus on. And here is the beautiful part of it. People will thank you because they will actually have accomplished something and they'll feel great about it. So again, going back to like a university setting, it takes people 2 to 4 years to get their degree, right? But if one semester is structured very well, they should be able to, at the end of that course, at least have a grasp on whatever that main topic is, right? So hopefully that's making sense to you also. All right. So that's the first thing. Now, let's see. Do I want to? Yeah, I guess I'll talk about this. So in your handouts, and remind me afterwards, and I'll put the link so you can get the handouts here. Here's a little wireframe, and here's a little sample. So when you're planning out your 3 main areas, your 3 main teaching areas, so to speak, then you could use this sheet to kind of walk you through it. Now, the pillar, I did not name the 1, 2, 3, but it's always a good idea if you named them. So again, in my scale to 20K program, one pillar is lead gen system. It's all about how to build your lead generation systems. Okay. Pillar 2 in my program is called the selling system, and it's all about selling, everything connected with that. And the 3rd pillar on my program is the scaling system. All right. So when you're mapping it out, it's good to give a name to your, whoops. And you know what? I bet I'm I'm pointing at the screen, and I realized that you guys couldn't even see it. All right. So, and again, you'll have these handouts here. So on the pillar, as you're building out your triangle, name each one of these. Okay. So again, mine would be lead generation system, selling system, scaling system. And then here on the planner, you would name your pillars and then the big objective of the pillar. So again, my first one here, my sales, or I'm sorry, my lead gen, what would be the major takeaway from that is how to generate leads on demand and get clients. So leads every day, clients every week. Okay. So that would be the big objective of what I'm teaching. And then the takeaways, let me make this just a little bigger here. The takeaways will be those individual areas that we're teaching. Okay. So again, here in my topics, my topic 1, how to create a juicy lead magnet. All right. So I would just type that in here that my first main teaching area would be lead magnets, juicy lead magnets or whatever. And the takeaway, not just how to go to Canva and create one, but the principles behind what makes a lead magnet juicy that people want to get their hands on it. All right. Is that making sense? So that's what the objective and the takeaway, what you're teaching, then what will they be able to do after they learn from you. Okay. And then the column here where it says delivery, how are you going to deliver that training? So sometimes it makes sense that you just strictly are doing face to screen, so to speak, and I hate to use the word lecturing, but you're delivering that content. Sometimes it might be over the shoulder where you're actually demonstrating. Sometimes it's a combination, okay? But it's just good to know ahead of time to kind of think about what would be the best way for people to benefit from this training. Sometimes it's literally like a hands-on, so like a workshop, okay? We're going to come together and we're actually going to do it together. And then the next column, the wireframe or the resource. What I mean by this is what tangible little tools do you need to give them to help them to be able to accomplish this? So this is a perfect example. I'm teaching you how to jumpstart building out your courses. And what am I giving you? I am giving you a couple of things. I'm giving you a wireframe. I'm giving you a little course planner map diagram. And then up here, I actually have a sample so that you could look at the samples and get an idea of what's involved with that. All right. And then the last column, I just have graphics here. So when you're in the middle of doing something, I know for myself, I hate kind of bouncing back and forth. Oh, okay, I don't have a thumbnail graphic for this, and oh, I need my digital stack for the sales page or whatever it is. So just take a few minutes at the beginning and think about what are the graphics that you might need. Okay, so do you need that like a video thumbnail created? Do you need the digital stack? Whatever it is. Do you need a logo? Do you need a chart? Whatever it is, as far as the graphics, then just jot them down so that you have it. All right. Let me come back here for a second. Okay, so is that making sense here? And let me switch over here and look at my notes. Tell you what. Okay. I'll look at all the comments at the end and make sure I'm not missing any questions here. So we first identified the triangle. We've got an idea of what we're going to teach. Now we're going to start mapping out the objective, the main takeaways, how we're going to deliver it, all of that kind of stuff. And then let's talk about how do you streamline all of this? And I've already hinted that anytime we have to stop and start, it breaks the chain of thought. And I mean, they've done studies, and I don't know, I think it's like a 20-minute, believe it or not. So if you're deep into something and then you get interrupted, to get your mind back into, especially if you're doing deep work. So the key is always batch whatever you can, batch your stuff. So what do I mean by that? Once you've planned out your course and you know that, okay, I need 6 little videos here, then just take a day and create your videos. Shut the door, lock it, put a sign on it, whatever you need to do, and just create the videos. And I tell people version 1 is better than never getting it done. Okay. You can always go back later and make a more polished one. At the end of the day, people don't care. They don't care what you look like. They don't care about anything except getting to point B. And if you can teach them that, then just go do it. Create the training materials, however you need to do it, but do it in a batch segment, and you're going to get a lot more done. The other thing is batch all of your Canva stuff. So for instance, let me shrink this down. I've been doing a lot of wireframes lately that I've been really loving. And so you'll notice here, I have a bunch of wireframes uh, in here. I'm just kind of scrolling past here. What's nice is I've got a format that seems to work well for me, for the materials that I'm teaching. And I can just come to the same document inside of Canva, and I can just continue to build in this document. All right. This is just a quick little cover sheet. So each time I need to add some more wireframes for certain satellite or certain segments, I can just change this. So do you see how easy it is when you have the templates and you're in this rhythm? So again, if I'm looking at this and I know that, okay, I'm going to be teaching about lead magnets, I'm going to teach about organic traffic, and I'm going to teach about nurturing your opt-ins, then I would come up here, I would duplicate this slide 3 times, change the title, boom, I'm done. It's that easy. The same thing with, let me see if this, whoops, I forgot again. Let me switch. So let me go back here. I keep forgetting to change. Sorry about that. So I was just saying that within Canva here, you'll notice I've got a document that has all kinds of different wireframes that I've created. And so I just come in here and I just continue to duplicate or modify it however I need it based on what I'm doing. And what I was saying is here, if I know that there's 3 videos that I'm going to be creating, one for lead magnet, organic traffic, and nurturing, then I just come here to this template, change the title. I could change the color of something real quick if I wanted, just to make it stand out. And boom, I'm done. It takes no time whatsoever. And again, because you're batching, you've already got it planned out. You just hop over here and you get this done. So let me show you another one. So here is just it's kind of like a mini digital stack. So again, I've got a little rhythm. I've got a routine. After I've created my handouts here, then I save them as a JPEG, and then I upload them back up here, and see how the papers are kind of stacked like this. So the next time I need to create a new one, I can just slide in the new images and boom, I'm done. That fast, right? Let me show you another one, hopefully. Wrong one. Even little banner ads and stuff that we create. Again, you just create kind of a little template, change it, and you're good to go. I had one other one I was going to show you, but I don't know what happened to it. So anyway, so I hope that makes sense, right? So let me come back here and let's just do a quick recap. So we've mapped out what we're going to teach. We've identified just three elements, three major elements. We've mapped out that little plan, and then we start batching. So what can we do all at once? We could create all of our graphics. We could create all of our wireframes or our PDFs or whatever it is that we're going to share, right? And then as we're building it out, it takes hardly any time at all to get that course built. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is, and let me make sure I share my screen here, is how do you organize all of this stuff? So for me, the easiest way is I just use a spreadsheet. Now, this is a Google Sheet, and it's not rocket science. You could just create one that just makes the most sense to you. This is I teach a 4-week email marketing machine class, and so I thought, well, this is a good example to show you what I've done. So it's just 4 weeks. So I've identified it by the week, and then column B, I just put the title. Again, it could be those legs, those 3 major legs, but this, like I say, it's just a 4-week program. So I identified that, and then the main objective of what it is that I'm teaching. And this is not showing the column of what they'll actually walk away with. So you could add that to this spreadsheet or just work off of the other one, whatever works best for you. Then the reason that I love the spreadsheet is how many times, you've created something, but then you, quite honestly, I have a hard time remembering what I ate for breakfast yesterday. So if I haven't taught this course in a while, it's so nice to come back here and know exactly what my resources are. And here are all of the links of where they are. I actually have all of this uploaded now into like a training portal, but it's also out on the Google Drive here. So everything is in one place. I know exactly what it is I'm teaching, what the objective is, the resources, the actual stuff that I give my students, right? So the wireframes, the PDFs, the workbooks, plus the slide deck, all of that kind of stuff. And I've got all of the links here. And then you'll notice I have a column over here that has the video links. So this particular course, I just left the videos up on YouTube. Sometimes I use Loom. There's a lot of different places you could create your videos on. You just grab that link and put it here. And if you're embedding the video, then you just grab the embed code and put it here. Again, why am I doing this? Because I never have to think about it again. And let's say, for instance, something changes. So I don't know. I've got a little PDF here called email tips. So maybe I've updated that email tip. Or that document. I could just come here and swap this out. And it's that easy. Okay. If I'm building a course and maybe I started out using one platform and then I'm going to switch to another, it's super easy to make that change because everything is here. So then all I would need to do is just add a quick, little bit of copy and I'm good to go. So I hope that's making sense to you. All right. So let me come back here and bring this over so I can see you. And now I lost my note. Hold on. I have 2 monitors and sometimes I can't find my other monitor. Okay. And we're right at 3:30. Let me just take, I'm going to take 5 minutes. I know one of the members wanted me to do a full training on FGF or Go High Level as far as creating a membership. So what I'll do is I'm just going to, we're going to do a quick sneak peek behind the scenes on that. And then I'll do a full training on that so that you can have it. All right. So let me just give me a second here and I will open up my Funnel Gorgeous. And then as soon as I get in here, let me move this screen over. As soon as I get in, I will share my screen. One second, let me get there. Okay, so this is Funnel Gorgeous, which is it's a white label product, Go High Level. So however you know it by, there's lots of people that have white labeled it. So I am on the membership side here, and when we get into the memberships, let me just open up. Let's see, what do I want to open up so I don't mess it up too much here. And again, I'll give you full training later. But if you were going to create a course, you would create the product, and then basically you just create containers. It's that easy. And because you've already done the planning of it, you know what the objective is, you know what the title is. And remember how I said, all of the thumbnails that you create. Within Funnel Gorgeous, you've got the little post thumbnail, and they're all the same size, 1280 by 720. Let me come back over here. You've got the like the bigger thumbnails here. So when you're creating your course, again, you'll know that, okay, I need different thumbnails for all of these. I'm trying to find, let me just open, nope, this one doesn't. I'm trying to find one that has, maybe this one does. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've, okay, here's a good example. So in this one, notice I've got 6 little kind of like mini lessons here, actually 7 if you count the welcome. And see these little thumbnails? I mean, super simple, right? So again, each one of these little categories here, I already knew ahead of time what I would be teaching. So I could just, when I was in Canva creating my images, it's just super easy to get in there and to start doing it, right? And then you just add the information. So let me, just looking to see here. And when I get into actually teaching with Funnel Gorgeous, there's some pros and cons as far as, you'll notice all of these, I have the video actually embedded, and I do not recommend that anymore. I recommend, I shouldn't say embedded here, these videos are uploaded. I would just embed and put the link. When I do full training, I'll explain more why I do that. It's just better, I think. Okay. So again, do you see how easy it is? So let me come back here so I can talk to you face to face here. So do you see how easy it is that when you're building out and you know exactly what you're going to talk about, you've identified those 3 problems, you have the solutions, then you just do it. So how easy is that? So as promised, a quick jump start on when you're creating your course content, how to streamline things, make sure that you batch, make sure you use templates, and just kind of rinse and repeat. And then use those wireframes, because then you'll know exactly where you want to take your people to. And then you don't have to worry about spending hours going down the wrong road with them, right? All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let me just check here to see if there were any questions. And yes, remember I said we have the major teaching topics and then the little satellites. Think of like frequently asked questions. Okay. Not everybody has to go through them. So make them short to the point. And then if people need that information, they can click on it and watch it. All right. So I will put a link. If you're in the Facebook group, I'll put a link so that you can get the handouts. And if you're in the Digital Business Academy, of course, this video will get loaded in the library, the repository, so you'll always have it. So this is just kind of like one tiny little slice of what we do inside of my Scale to 20K program. We work on, as I mentioned, those 3 major systems in your business so that you can create a machine basically that brings leads to you, that's easy to sell your program, and then easy to scale your system. So if you want to learn more about that, just reach out to me and I'll give you the details about that program. And as always, if you happen to be watching on my YouTube channel, then hit the subscribe button, and that way you'll never miss any of the videos that I share. So that is it for today. If there's any other questions, just post them and I'll get back to you. All right. Well, thanks for watching and have a great day.